Okay, welcome to this session, Raise Your Rates. So if you are already happy with what you're charging, that's completely fine. But sometimes you do need to stop and just think, am I charging enough for this service? Things have got increasingly more expensive. Sometimes you start off quite low and you sort of realize, oh, actually, I've charged wrong. Oh, should be charging more. Ultimately, you are running a business, not a charity. And I know we're all kind, care-hearted people, but it is important that you charge correctly because if you are getting enough income, then you don't have to run yourself ragged. And then if you're not running yourself ragged, you stay healthy and you stay happy, and a good, happy carer delivers good care. So it is important that you do charge correctly. And if you have found yourself in a position where you aren't charging quite enough, might be just because it's been a few years since you've increased your rates, or it might be that you set off too low. It might be that you were feeling a bit cheeky when you put out your prices. I'm not entirely sure why, but if you find yourself that you need to be raising your rates, then this workbook is here to help you do that. So let's wander on through it, and I'll show you how to use it. So let's be clear, raising your prices isn't cheeky or greedy. It's just you being smart and sustainable, making the most of your business and yourself. You have worked hard to build your reputation, you've worked hard to gain your qualifications and your skills, and you deserve to be well rewarded for your caringness, if that's a word. Um, so let's go for it. So, if you've never done this, I highly recommend that first off, you start with a bit of market research. So, truth be told, when I first started, we didn't do any market research. We just guessed. We just said £15 an hour. And in fact, we even said, and so if it's half an hour, it's 7.50. And oh my God, it was such a mistake. Our first client lived 15 minutes away. And in the morning, he wanted an hour and a half. So £15 an hour wasn't too bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't too bad. And then in the evening, he only needed half an hour. But it took us 15 minutes there, 15 minutes back. So it actually took an hour. And we were charging him 7.50. And if you by the time you take away fuel and tax and stuff, we really wasn't making anything. And it took me months to work up the courage to say, I'm so sorry, we've not charged correctly. We need to be charging this. And when I did eventually do that, they went, yeah, that's fine, because they clearly knew that they were on a steal and on a good thing. So yeah, so to stop doing that mistake and to give you confidence in your pricing, I highly recommend you do a bit of market research first. So you need to be finding out what other care companies and other people around your area are charging. Different areas do charge more, like London, for example, is always more costly than up north. Down south is normally more, just costs more, doesn't it, to live? So it is worth just considering where you are located. But do a bit of market research. So this is a really handy little tip for you. If you go to www.homecare.co.uk, it gives you, shall we try and do it? Opening Google Chrome. There we go. It gives you an idea of what the care agencies are charging. So, for example, if we do around here, PR33EP, let's see. So we can see as a rough idea, Alcardo Care and Preston charge from £34 an hour. Caremark £31.50 an hour. Right at Home £29 an hour. 28. And so that's always already a really good starting point. So I really like it's quite handy. So that's homecare.co.uk. So it's a really sort of nice starting point. So that's one way of doing it. Back to my PDF. So that's one way of doing it, which is really good. So ideally, you're looking to learn your hourly rate and what they charge for a 30-minute visit. It's also helpful to learn about call-out charges, weekend rate, overnights, and all that type of thing, but not essential. Just so you know how I run my business, just for pure admin, we just do a set rate for we don't do nights, but we do a set rate for weekends and weekdays. It's all the same, just because it'd be hard work otherwise. So the other way of doing it is you can ring a few care companies up and um, I don't want to say a lie, but you don't want to say, "Oh, I'm going to be a competition and I would like to know this." Because that's not really gonna go down well. So sometimes I get a friend to do this and I just ask them, well, you just ring and just ask these companies what they charge. And so you can literally just like say, my dad's starting to struggle, and we've sort of thinking about getting caring. Probably not. He wants to have a bit of information first. And he's obviously reluctant. So I'm just trying to keep going pre-armed before we have this really sort of like intense conversation. So please would you be able to let me know like a rough idea of what it costs? Because obviously I know that's going to be one of his things he's going to argue about. And he and then just sort of say what they say. And then the other option is to sort of say it's for a neighbour rather than your dad. Sort of say, been doing a bit of shopping for my elderly neighbour, and he mentioned about wanting a bit more help these days. So I was but he didn't know how much it cost. So I was like, well, I says I'll find out for you. So I was just wondering if you'd be able to give me a rough idea of like what it costs to come and have someone visit your home, like what's your hourly rate, and then they normally tell you then. I do highly recommend doing that bit of market research. Sometimes you can jump on Facebook and sort of ask like the private carers, what are you all charging? But it just gives you all that bit of more confidence that you're charging correctly. You can so think about it two ways. So a care agency charges said much. You can charge less because you haven't got as many overheads and expenses, so you can provide a cheaper service, or you can charge more because you provide a better service. So it's entirely up to you. So we tend to sort of go somewhere in the middle. But do just remember it depends on your area. So if you do jump on Facebook and ask people what do they charge, just make sure you sort of take into account whether they're up north, down south, all that type of thing. So when you are going to decide on your new rate, there's a few ways of doing it. Um, pardon me. Um, so a little increase, like the 3 to 5% amount. So it's not much, but it's a little bit. That's good for like an annual adjustment. So if you've been doing it each year, maybe that's a good way. It goes pretty much unnoticed. You just sort of say, yearly fee this year is this, that. And a bit more of a jump is 6 to 10% more. And that kind of works best if you've not increased your prices for maybe 1 to 2, like about 2 years, really. And you have to put a reason behind it. Rising costs, qualifications, improved service. Well, that's where we're up to. And then a big jump only works, so like 20% plus, if you haven't raised your rates in years. And you're still like well under the market value. So say like you've set off charging wrong basically. And you have to make sure that you are prepared for like a just say you might even want to just say, you know what, I haven't been charging enough all these years. Now I've sort of realized that like, it's not sustainable to run a business like this. And if you go over 20%, then there's quite a high risk of pushback or losing that client. And you would need to sort of sell it a bit more. So compare it to like other services. Um, and you'd probably be better off doing it in two stages, doing a little bit and then a little bit like 6 months later on. But to sort of give you an idea, I've got your calculator. So we're going to click onto the calculator. Agree. So say like you had set off at the wrong time. So say like we've done £15 an hour like I did, and we're going to increase that, and you think, oof, like we really need to be getting to £25 an hour. Well, that's a 66.6% increase. It's too much. It's too much. You cannot up someone's that much. It's just not okay. So you could say I have been charging wrong, but like you could maybe say, oh, maybe I'm just going to have to take that hit. So 20%, a 33% increase. It's still quite large, but that's probably much better. But say like you have been charging, right? And maybe you've been at 20 and you think I need to get to that £25 mark, but that's still a 25% increase. Still quite a big jump. So if you did 22.50, that's 12.5% increase. Not as bad, not as bad. That's not too bad. So then you would then do it again in like a year's time. So then you got to your 25. So that's just sort of handy to just play around, see how it feels. So for example, we've set off at 25 and then I'm happy with that, so we're staying at that. But maybe I think maybe I would like to go up a little bit. But that's only a 4% increase. That's neither here nor there really, so it doesn't look that bad, does it? So 8% increase. Again, not too bad. So like that's how you want to sort of increase your prices really, is by a little bit, but it only works if you've set off at a decent amount. So that is the percentage calculator. The link is on the document. I have also done you a calculator to work out your new rate. So you have to sort of go like this at this point. I do apologize. But we'll use there's an Excel for people who use Excel, numbers for people that use numbers. So I'll click on the numbers one for me. Right, so you can scenario increase and rate increase. So here, rate increase calculator. So this is you working out how much that means on your bottom line, basically. So say like your old rate, this was like £14. So that was probably for a half an hour visit, wouldn't it? New rate, we really need to be getting up to 18 visits per week. So 18's a big jump, isn't it? Let's go down to 16.50. And then we're gonna, so it is probably half an hour slot, I was thinking. So it's probably 4 times a week in a dinner and a tea. I'd imagine that will be half an hour slot. Weekly revenue comes out to be that. Monthly revenue, annual revenue, monthly increase is that annual increase. So by just doing that little change, you get £520 more a year, which is quite a lot, isn't it? Per month, £43, which is good. And then if we were then going to change any other visits, so say like we for this person, we probably did a £19 visit. A new rate is 22. So this was probably for the an hour. Yeah, and then I maybe did that twice a week, 1 hour visit. Weekly revenue, it works out to be 44. Monthly revenue, annual revenue, monthly increase 25. Annual increase £300. It adds up, doesn't it? It adds up. So this was obviously just for one lady. Right, so that's rate increase calculator. And you could compare scenarios if you want. So scenario, old rate, new rate, visits per week, visits, weekly revenue works out to be that. And then you could sort of do, well, should I go a bit higher? Should I go a bit lower? So right, just one increase there. So just by going that a little bit more there, look, new visits per new rate here. So just by adding £1 on for this particular scenario, my weekly revenue changes there to 270 from 255. So it's quite like it does add up. If you've got 8 clients and you will increase them by just a little bit of percentage, then you will find that you probably don't need to pick up another client, which then gives you that added flexibility and availability, which is a good thing. So that is just have a play around with it. It won't hurt it if you know what I mean. So that is your rise your rates increase calculator. And then comes the tricky bit. It is telling the people. So I'll move myself over here. Right. So there's a few different ways of doing this, right? So you have different relationships with different clients and families, basically. And so depending on that type of relationship is how you want to do it. So this is like great for business-like relationships where you have like quite a clear agreement. So that's where you've sort of done all your policies and procedures and all that lot. Then sort of update to care rate services isn't that big of a shock. And so you would just literally be quite direct. Change reflects rising costs, job done. And then the other option is for more like long-term clients where you're a bit more friendly, a bit more loyal tone, that type of thing. I want to give you a quick update on my rates. From date, we'll be changing from this to this. I keep my prices from the same since, I don't know, it might be 4 years, 5 years, mightn't it? But with road for the rising cost of delivering care, keeping training up to date, the cost, we need to go up basically. So grateful to be part of your care team. Uh, and then we've got more that sort of for situations where you want to highlight improvements of the benefits of your service. So this is more like a value one. So again, it's pretty much the same from date, change from this to this. And this increase means we can do this and this. Thank you. So it's very simple, but it's so like just it can be really hard working out what to say, can't it? So you just copy paste, job done. Um, and then for situations where you want to add a bit more detail, these will be like additional paragraphs to add into the email probably. And so you might say, I've done some market research and for my current options to double check my rates are fair and they're still great value. So you can do that if that feels like better for you. As a long-standing valued client, we truly appreciate your care, your patience and trust. And your new rate will still be lower than what I'm currently charging new clients. So we do that for long-standing clients. And the other option is, as you know, I only work with a small number of clients, so I can give each person consistent focused care without rushing. Blah, blah, blah. By raising my rates, I can make sure that I continue to deliver really good care. And so these are like additional paragraphs that you might want to add into the email if it makes you sort of feel a bit better about doing it. So there's different channels. I say email, you might do email and letter, you might do in person and letter, and you might do text. But you do need some form of written communication just so they can refer back to it, really. So don't over explain, don't apologize. Know that you are worth your weight in gold. And so you just need to be quite direct, but not too direct. And so there is a letter template here, which you can just copy. Ooh, that's how you lay out a letter if you're going to do a letter. And that is it. So I really, really hope that you found this useful and just have a play around with the workbook. And do let me know if you are going to raise your rates. And don't get me wrong, we've all been there. I'll say, oh, I've got a lady I've been undercharging for so long. I absolutely need to tell her. And I procrastinate, I leave it, I do everything under the sun. And I teach this for a living as well, don't forget. And I am still not perfect, no way. Anyway, I have to say that I did do it for one lady this January. We give her a couple of months notice and we said from January we are going to increase. And we was like, yes. So from this month we get to increase her bill because she's been on an absolute steal for about 5 years. So yeah, it is super super rewarding, this work, and you should be monetarily rewarded correctly too. It isn't greedy. We're not very good at talking about money, are we, when we're English? But honestly, you deserve to be well rewarded. And by being so, you can give good care, can't you? Great care, outstanding care. Okay, have fun. Bye.